Hello all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to guide you on a very interesting topic of forest fires. And the topic is relevant for UPSC Mains GS3 disaster management. Why this topic? It's because of the few events that have happened in 2019 and to 2020, and hopefully there will be more of forest fires coming in the near future years. So the question is relevant. As you know, in the international level, we have heard in the 2019 we have heard of Australian bushfires, the Amazon rainforest fire, and in Indian context we have heard of the Uttarakhand fires. So UPSC can ask a question relevant to this particular topic. So let's start the lecture. As a disclaimer, let me tell you, NDMA, that is National Disaster Management Authority, have not bought any specific guideline till date. If any is bought, I would definitely make another video for the same. This particular lecture is related to or is in concurrence with the joint assessment of forest fires by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and World Bank made in 2018. The report released is named as Strengthening Forest Fire Management in India, and the report have got namely 4 chapters. The first chapter is characterizing the forest fire challenges in India, amusement of policy plans and practices, institutional coordination and community engagements, and recommendations. So these are the 4 chapters that's coming under this particular report. Now, on analyzing the trends and regional patterns, we have found out that 59 to 69% of the districts of India is affected by forest fires. That is, in an average, more than half, or you can say a bit more than half of the districts of India is affected by forest fires. If you see the regional trend, that is, if you look at north, northeast, south, central, if you look in that cases, the central India is affected more compared to any other region. This can be due to the very dry conditions that is there in the particular region. And the second fascinating point that you can note here is the 55% of the fire incidents reported during 2003 to 2016 is from northeast states. So this 55% of the fire incident reporting is a good sign, which shows that the community or the people around is sensitive to the issue and they are willing to report it to the authorities. Then comes another important information that was revealed in the report, that most of the forest fire that is occurring in India occurs within few kilometers from a road. That makes it more accessible for operations which is to take place after a forest fire. But that doesn't mean that it only happens near to a road. It do happen in remote areas also. So nothing can be generalized. And the trends and regional patterns are studied using satellite technology, and the technique or the satellites used are moderate resolution imaging spectroradiometer. Factors influencing forest fires. The major 3 factors which influence the forest fire is weather, topography, and fuel load. Weather, as you know, dry climate will definitely trigger fire. Most of the fires peak during March to April, which is the dry months, and that is just before the time of monsoon. Next comes topography. The topography varies. You can see in whole of India there is so much of topographical differences. So let's say On a level ground, the rate of spreading is lower than on steep slopes. So topography is definitely a factor of how far a fire can grow. Next is fuel load. Fuel load is the amount of combustible material available within the forest. Higher fuel load means the amount is more, low fuel load means the amount of fuel is amount of material, combustible material is low. In a particular forest, the combustible materials can be dry grass, litter, shrubs, small shrubs, dead trees, decomposing humus in the soil, etc. And also we must understand fire behavior is affected by the moisture contained in the soil. So if it is moist, the chance of catching a fire is less. So these are the factors influencing forest fire. Next is causes. There are two sets of causes. One is anthropogenic causes and another is natural causes. In anthropogenic causes definitely means man-made causes. In anthropogenic causes, which is intentional causes, people clear the forest for pasturing or for agricultural land, for timber smuggling, etc. So that is one. The next is in northeast, there is Juhum cultivation is practiced. So there they clear the forest by burning. So that is a cause of forest fire. And in the case of Juhum cultivation, they don't actually want to burn the whole forest, but what happens at times, uncontrolled burning happens, which becomes uncontrollable for the person who is burning the forest. So that becomes a cause of forest fire. Next is discarding cigarette butts or uh, poor controlled burning of adjacent farmlands. This can also cause forest fires. Now, natural causes, human beings definitely don't have any idea. So one is lightning, next is friction of rubbing of stones, etc. So these kind of things of natural causes we cannot do much, but of course in the anthropogenic side, we definitely can sensitize the people and they can definitely contribute to an extent. Now, impact of forest fires. Definitely for any event in life, there is positives and negatives. So here too we have got positives and negatives. The positive impact of a forest fire is it regenerates the forest. But to say that it becomes a positive change, the fire should be small and occasional. If it is a large fire and if it burns the whole forest, then there is no regeneration. So if it is a large fire, the positive impact is not seen. The next is the occasional fires can also help keep the fuel load low so that it will prevent a larger fire. Now let's come to the negative impact. In negative impact, the main impact is the greenhouse gas emissions can be controlled. Of course, it will go up. Then the ecological degradation, that is, forest as such is a very huge ecological system. When it burns, there is an imbalance in the ecological system. Habitat loss. Habitat loss even can cause human and animal conflicts. So habitat loss is a problem. It's a negative impact. Then comes impact on forest dwellers. So forest dwellers are people who actually depend and live inside the forest, and their economy is totally dependent on the forest. So what happens once their environment or their economy, once their environment is burned down, they actually find it difficult to cope with the situation. So these are the negative and positive impacts of forest fires. Next is forest fire management, so prevention management process. So in this process, the process can be split into 4 steps. As always, trying to prevent it. If we are not able to prevent, of course, we have to detect it. Once detected, we have to suppress the fire. Once suppressed, we have to do post-fire management. In case of prevention, what all can be done? So first, what we have to do is we have to identify the risk zones. Even in earthquake, we do this. We do earthquake zonation. So we make zones where the risk is high and where the risk is low. The same is done here. So the vulnerability is calculated and the frequency of effect is calculated. So that is done. That is one thing that we for prevention. The next is that we conduct controlled burning to limit the amount of fuel that is there in the forest. The other method is silviculture practice. Silviculture practice is a kind of practice where we selectively plant. Okay, we human beings selectively plant fire adopted tree species. Okay, so that the fire doesn't happen. We usually do it in fire prone area. So what is actually silviculture? Silviculture is a practice of controlling the growth, composition and structure and quality of forest to meet values and needs, specifically timber production. But when we do silviculture for prevention of forest fires, we don't do it for the specific need of timber production. But what we do here is we plant fire resistant wood so that will resist the further creation of fire. Okay, that is few methods that we use. Next is we have early warning signals also developed. These are the things of prevention. The next is detection. Two types of detection systems are available. One is satellite-based detection and the other is ground-based detection by forest field staff. Satellite-based detection system works mainly on remote sensing, and satellite-based detection system provides fire alerts to the concerned state authorities. Few examples are Northeastern Space Application Center. This particular system provides fire alerts to the northeastern states, and Bhuvan provides fire alerts to Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka and Uttarakhand. And there is another application that is developed by Forest Survey of India, and it is called as Forest Fire Alert System 2.0, and it provides SMS and email alerts for 17 states. So this is the technology based detection system. So we, as you know, technology cannot 100% replace human beings. So we have got a ground based detection system in which we have got field staffs who are actively looking and monitoring the forest for forest fires. Now this fire have begun. Okay, we were not able to prevent, or we were not able to detect, and we were not able to prevent the fire. Now the fire have already begun. Now the way out is to suppress the fire, and here we rely mainly on firefighting techniques, that is like fire direct attack on the fire and parallel attack on the fire. So the technique that we use depend on the characteristic of the fire, if it is low intensity fire or high intensity fire, or if it is crown burning fire, meaning the crown of the trees are getting burnt. You have a very big crown tree and the crowns are only getting burned, and crown to crown the fire is being passed on. There is crown burning fires. And the other kind of fire is ground smoother fires, that is the ground is being burnt. So depending according to the nature of the fire, the techniques also vary. So keeping on the nature and the characteristics of the fire, we train and equip our firefighting staff. In this particular segment of management of fires, forest fires, community involvement and awareness is very crucial, because locals are the first to come to know about the fire, and they are the first to get involved with the fire. So community awareness and involvement is very, very, very crucial. We were not able to detect the fire, we were not able to prevent the fire, and we suppressed the fire. So once the suppression part is complete, now the resources have to put in to the next step, that is post fire management. In this step, we basically collect data. We collect data so that we can make assessment and we can do analysis for about the impact that the fire have caused. And the next, after the impact is calculated and after these studies are done, or parallelly, we have to start restoration and rehabilitation. In any disaster, when any disaster is hit, this restoration and rehabilitation is one of the major steps that any authority have to take up. So when you become a collector, or when you become an authority in a district, and when your district comes into some kind of disaster, you are the in charge of these kind of activities. So this is where you have to put in your ideas for rehabilitation. So in this case of forest fires, restoration of local ecosystem with biodiversity is very important. So restoration of animals is also important. The local biodiversity is also important. When you look at the human side, or the human being side, there are so many people living inside the ecosystem of the forest. They have to be rehabilitated to better place. You have to set up temporary camps, and then you have to give them food, water, whatever is there. Then you have to rebuild the infrastructure so that they can be relocated to their normal place of living, or whatever is needed for them to continue living. And this everything depends on the forest department and local community, or the district authority, or the state authority, or whatever authority it is. So this is the section that I was planning to cover, and thank you. Thank you for your time. If you liked the video, do subscribe and click the like button, also the bell button. Thank you. And I do have a Telegram channel. The link will be given in the description box. Also, I'll be uploading the PDF of this particular lecture in that Telegram channel, so you can download it from there. Thank you once again. Hope you will do good for all your exams. Thank you. Good luck.